everyone, and welcome to this newest webinar by REACHLaw on understanding the India BIS certification, and specifically foreign manufacturers of machinery and electronic products under this omnibus technical regulation. So something a bit different this time from the usual chemical regulations. Now we're talking about products today, very specific ones. And indeed, this is a reshoot of this webinar, which due to technical reasons was we had to scrap it last time. So thank you for your patience with that one, and happy to see you again in this new retake, which I assume will go much more smoothly than last time. But anyway, coming back to the topic. So I'm joined by the subject matter experts, Gagan and Rashmi, and I will ask Gagan to introduce himself first, please, Gagan.
Thank you, Frederick. Yes, pleased to be here and welcome participants joining this once again. My name is Gagan. I work as Managing Director of REACHLaw India Private Limited. I'm based out of New Delhi, and I've been working with REACH and REACH-like and all now product regulations since 2008. And I'll be taking topics that we will be presenting today regarding the certifications and some regulatory information which is important for participants to know. Yes, so thank you once again, and over to you, Rashmi.
Thank you, Gagan, and hello everyone. I welcome you again to our webinar, and I am Rashmi Srivastava, and I work as Senior Manager, Regulatory Affairs BIS Certification at REACHLaw India. I have more than 14 years of working experience with different global regulations, and now at REACHLaw I manage BIS certifications. In today's webinar, I will help you to understand about the process of certification, timeline, and requirement. Also, I will help you to understand the post-license obligation. So this is about me. Thank you. Over to you, Frederick.
Thank you, Gagan. Thank you, Rashmi. And I'm Fredrik Johansson. I'm a partner, head of sales at REACHLaw. Chemical engineer by background, but been working with REACH and REACH-related topics, and now also with product-related topics, well, for a long time already. And happy to be in this call together with my colleagues. So indeed, today we will have a packed agenda as per usual with REACHLaw webinars. So we'll just give you a quick overview of REACHLaw, who we are, and more from the focus of India BIS. Then my colleagues will introduce the Bureau of Indian Standards, this BIS. Then we look at an overview of the certification process, look at the scope of this omnibus technical regulation, what products are affected, etc., and what the certificate requirements are. Then we'll look at what the process and obligations are for foreign manufacturers, and the role of this authorized Indian representative, this AIR, which you will see in this presentation many times. Then we'll look at some common compliance challenges and recent regulatory updates before going to the conclusions and Q&A session at the end. And you will find, of course, our contact details also at the end of this presentation. So indeed, give you just a very quick recap of REACHLaw for those of you who do not know us already. So we provide support for REACH-like chemical regulations, as well as now also product-related regulations globally. And India BIS, of course, is a product-related requirement. Our colleagues will talk about that in more details. So we have an office, actually two offices in India, in New Delhi and in Mumbai, through which my colleagues are joining. And in India, we provide, of course, support for these India BIS services. We'll be touching upon that more in the presentation. But other than that, I'm calling in from the head office here in Helsinki, Finland. But beyond that, we also have offices in Manchester for UK REACH, CLP, GB-CLP purposes. We have a small office in Brussels also, in Turkey, bigger one for Turkey KKDIK, so Turkey REACH related topics. Then also in South Korea, in Seoul for K-REACH, K-OSHA, etc. topics, and the newest newcomer in our portfolio or subsidiary portfolio, let's put it this way, is Ukraine, with our office in Kyiv for Ukraine REACH and CLP purposes. So a lot of REACHes around the world, and more are coming in the near future. But we are well presented in all the main continent, as you see, and also, of course, in India, which is the topic of today's webinar. So we have three legs, if you will, or sections of our services that we support our global clients with, and the biggest by far is, of course, related to chemical compliance and product compliance. Here we provide support for all REACH and REACH-like chemical regulations. We function as an only representative in all of these jurisdictions. I will not go into details here, but then also these product-related regulations, such as now this India BIS license requirement, which will be topic of today. Besides that, we also support clients with advocacy and sustainability-related topics, but I will not go into those details here, as today we are focusing on products and compliance thereof, or more specifically licenses related thereof. So indeed, for India BIS, we support our clients with a full process flow from scoping, so checking what is needed, what is in the scope of the BIS requirement. We of course help our clients prepare, or we prepare them on behalf of our client these licenses. We also function as an AIR, so this is Authorized India representative for foreign manufacturers who need to have their products comply with this BIS license requirement. Then we also support with these testing requirements, inspections, marking and labeling, as well as the IT system for example, for Indian manufacturers who need support with that, etc. And of course, maintaining all of this, because it's not just a one-shot, it's something that you have to maintain and renew from time to time, as will be discussed in great detail in the next slides. So indeed, we provide these services through our entity in India, which is REACHLaw Private Limited. And indeed, two offices, New Delhi and Mumbai. So besides these product-related regulations, also mentioned that we are one of the biggest only representatives when it comes to these REACH and REACH-like chemical regulations. So just wanted to highlight that for those of you who also tackle with chemicals in your operations. And indeed, this webinar will be placed on YouTube. You will find it under REACHLaw Talks. Please head over there. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe. And if you like videos, just thumb those up so that other people can also find them who are maybe struggling with similar type of topics. And our REACHLaw Talks YouTube channel is, we're quite busy there. So at the moment we have 154 dedicated videos there. Not everything on India BIS, obviously, but on all these chemical regulations that we support, as well as India BIS also, but also other requirements for products, chemical products, and other products. So you can find a lot of content on our YouTube channel. And the best way is to subscribe, then we'll get notified if there are updates, etc. But please do feel free to follow us on YouTube also. We appreciate that very much. So indeed, we specialize in chemical and product regulatory compliance, advocacy, and sustainability. That's what we do. So before heading over and giving the floor to Gagan to continue, I would just like to remind that the content in this presentation is for general information purposes and is not suitable per se as direct consultancy. If you need support with these very complicated topics such as India BIS, feel free to contact us, and we're happy to provide you with specific support. So if you use anything in this webinar, then it's your own responsibility. We are not accepting any liabilities or providing any warranties, etc. Now I have made the lawyers happy, and feel free to read this in detail. Pause if you're looking on YouTube. But other than that, this is the conclusion of the disclaimer and the copyright for the duration of this webinar. which is good, I think. Anyway, now I will turn off the video just to accommodate for a bit more bandwidth to anyone joining from the far side of this earth. And I will just give the floor over to Gagan. So Gagan, please go ahead and provide the introduction to the Bureau of Indian Standards, BIS that is.
Thank you, Frederick, and thank you for the company introduction. And yes, I think this is something important for you that to understand what is the Bureau of Indian Standards. So next slide, please. So this Bureau of Indian Standards, as you see from this slide, it's a national standards authority of India. Like you have been a manufacturing economy. In your own country, you have standards. The standards are usually specifying the product, covering a lot of products that country produces for their consumers, as well as to do business with other economies. And in India, we have similar national standard authority, which is Bureau of Indian Standard. And that is the logo that you see on top right corner. And this is where the most of the certifications we will talk will be implemented by this authority. So this is authority who's implementing these regulatory requirements for the applicants, for the industry. They will be issuing the certificates. And it's a fairly old authority. It started in 1986 with some basic product standards. So it is now graduated to Bureau of Indian Standards. So Bureau stands for something which is controlling authority for managing the registration and certifications. And there is a continual activity we will see in the next slides, but the authority is covering a lot of industries. They have looking at harmonizing the Indian standards with ISO and IEC. These are global recognized product standards. And it is something, an ongoing process to support domestic industries to make good quality products, so which can be accepted worldwide without much trouble, because the product is already established these standards locally, and these are the standards which also comply with ISO. Head office is in New Delhi, which is also a few kilometers away from our office. This is the head office of this authority. And then they have other regional offices. India, as you see the size of the country, they have regional offices which is in the different states and handling the local and the compliances. And then comes to that what kind of regulations or product regulations they are implementing is the quality control orders, in short QCO. QCO is something which is a product regulation, and it can be vertical or it can be a horizontal regulation. When I say vertical, meaning it will cover a set of products. And when I say horizontal, it will cover variety of products or categories, and it's much bigger scope. And this is where the product quality comes in. And each quality control orders has a set deadline. It will have a product standard, Indian standard, and a deadline. So every product regulation will have product covered, the scope will be defined, and there will be deadline by which the companies needs to comply or obtain these certificates. And then we have central government. The central government has 15 line ministries. These are different government departments responsible for their own economies and the manufacturing sector. And they are responsible for issuing and developing these quality control orders with, of course, various stakeholders, so that it meets the right quality and safety benchmark. So it's always a product regulation which focuses that the product is of very high quality and is safe for the users, and it protects consumers here, as well as it also helps in promoting good quality product outside India. So our government is focusing on making good quality products if we have to lead the manufacturing sector. And there are more than thousands of products that are where we have find the quality control orders, and these are mandatory certification, meaning that without the certifications you are not allowed to do manufacturing in India or do business with India if you are sending products outside India. The regulation is which is governing this framework is Bureau of Indian Standards Conformity Assessment Regulations 2018, and there are certain amendments post 2018, but this is the base regulation which defines the criteria of how these assessments are made. And each product will have a logo to recognize that the product meets the certain quality, like you have especially in Europe CE marking. So you could relate this logos of various schemes we have, scheme 1, 2 and X. The topic for today is scheme X, but this is something which will come on your product, and meaning that it meets the right quality which India is looking at. So mandatory based certification has a lot of benefits. It's of course building you to build the consumer trust. There are a lot of tenders that would actually demand this to be able to meet the requirements as a precursor for big compliance and the procurement ordering process, and then it ensures also the high quality and compliances within Indian industry. So it's a quality seal, and it's also support the trust for the consumers and help you access market. If you do not have manufacturing in India and you want to do business with India, we are growing at 6.5% annually, and its government is focusing more manufacturing to come in India, and therefore it's a market access regulation. Next slide, please. Yeah. So Bureau of Indian Standards, we have, of course, a framework regulation, which is BIS Standards Act 2016. It's a main provision, which I'll not go into the detail, but these are having 5 chapters. And this actually defines or gives powers to the central government. And also when the BIS authority was established is written in the Act, which is the main legislation within this set of regulations. And this also means that if you see chapter 3, it will define that you have to have a conformity assessment scheme, and you have to grant license based on the conformity. And then they also allows that you can prohibit the manufacturer if they are not having the certifications. So it allows, it has the provisions to then do the enforcement, and how the licenses will be used in India, and what are the terms and conditions of the license. So this specific legislations also has provisions of penalties for contravention of this act, and this act is mentioned in most of your quality control orders. So the references of this act is based on this text that you see on your screen. Next slide, please. And now coming to the main framework, which I talked recently, is the Bureau of Indian Standards Conformity Assessment 2018. This is the regulation which has around 200 pages. It has different schemes and different conformity schemes. If you have to go through this, then you have to go through the scheme X, which is a separate scheme under the conformity assessment. So this ensures the product comply with the Indian standards before being imported or sold or used in India. So meaning that if you have a manufacturing in India, you are having more responsibility to comply. Otherwise, you will not be able to manufacture goods in India. And if you do not have manufacturing, and if you are a foreign manufacturer, then you need to ensure that the goods that you sell to India are certified according to this requirement before they are sold to India, and if they are meeting the deadlines according to this quality control orders. So we will focus on scheme X. This is the newest scheme, which my colleague will also explain more how to comply. But to give you on the regulatory side, this is essentially covering the certification for machines and the electrical equipment. And it's an omnibus technical regulation, which of course covers a lot of variety of machines. So it has an OTR regulation which defines the horizontal quality control order. So let's see in the next slide what it means. And this is the structure of the central line ministries. So Bureau of Indian Standard, as you see, comes under Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. And this is the main ministries under which Bureau of Indian Standards operate. And within Bureau of Indian Standards, the product regulations or quality control orders are issued by the 15 regulators or the ministries, and these comes under central government. So as you see on this slide, there are 15 ministries, and for topic for today, which is Scheme X, is coming under number 10, which is Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises. So this is the authority for you if you are looking to make changes to the deadline, or you are looking to have some changes. So this is where the BIS will have no role to play. BIS is the implementing authority. They will of course get instructions from the ministry to make any changes to the quality control order, which is in Scheme X is the OTR, Omnibus Technical Regulation. Next slide, please. So let's say the overview that who needs it and why it is mandatory. So the BIS certification overview, as I said, it's an Indian market entry for foreign manufacturers and also for domestic if they want to continue to manufacture goods in India. Then also it's a mandatory requirement. So we have three schemes here, which is in terms of the differences. I think the product segment is different, the deadlines to comply is different, and then the fees and certain requirements on the technical documentations are different. But in the sense that all these schemes have the same goal to achieve the high quality product which is safe for consumers. And then you have market surveillance. The market surveillance is one of the important tool which is again coming under BIS Act, giving powers to the BIS to do the inspections wherever the goods are sold within India. So it will not go outside India, but yes, for foreign manufacturers, the enforcement will happen at your importer's site, the customer site where the goods are used. So the market surveillance is a tool to ensure that the certificates or the products that you use are still compliant with this requirement, because the certificate always comes with the renewal. It's not has a lifetime validity. It gets renewal from 1 year to 5 years. Then you see these markings first time. So these are product markings or logos like CE marking you see on these products, different kind of electronic and other products. And therefore this for Scheme X, you are looking at this blue and red logo, which is Infinity logo that will come on your product. Whereas for Scheme 1, it will be ISI mark logo, which you see in the black box. So Scheme X and Scheme 2 are essentially using the Infinity logo, and which ensure the seal of the quality. For foreign manufacturers, the Bureau of Indian Standards in that New Delhi has a dedicated department. So all the applications will be submitted and processed at New Delhi head office of Bureau of Indian Standard under Foreign Manufacturer Certification Scheme. And we will see more on Authorized India representative. As you see this term first time, we will have one slide on this, but this is something mandatory requirement. If you do not have your subsidiaries in India, or you do not have any license offices in India, then you would need to appoint a person, not a legal entity, an individual person as Authorized India representative. We will talk about this more in the presentation. And then compulsory registration scheme is basically for electronics and IT products. But it could be the case that you have a machine and it has multiple components, and then some of the components falling under scheme 1, which is, let's say, steel and other products which falls under scheme 1, and some has the electronic component which may cover under scheme 2. So in a sense that the scoping is very important, and you should know what kind of certifications you need as a company and when you are bringing products into India. So this is something you should consider. That's why we are keeping this, but for focus is of course scheme X. Next slide, please. And then who needs it? Is that the BIS certification only can be obtained by the manufacturer. So no importer, no trader, no let's say retailers, distributors, dealers. So it is always manufacturer who needs to apply, because the documentation that goes for the certification only manufacturing players or manufacturer can provide. And there is always a process which you will see in the next slide, that your factories will be also inspected. So there will be always a factory inspection which validates what you provide on the documentation on technical side. So it has to be a manufacturer to get you the certification. So domestic manufacturer, local factories in India meeting the production and the quality standards. So that is when who can apply for the certification. And then foreign manufacturer. So it's not that you can get a certification by appointing an authorized India representative, and this authorized India representative will make the application. It's not the case here. So for BIS, you as a foreign manufacturer is an applicant. So you will play an important role. All the documentations, inspections, and all kind of compliances will your responsibility. Of course, you need to take this authorized India representative as an individual person to be able to complete the regulatory requirements. But you yourself is responsible for getting the certification. That's why it's important for you to understand what it means using this webinar. Of course, the Indian importers, retailers, they will not buy products if these are not certified. And it's quite common. It's a name shame. Like recently there was an inspection on Amazon warehouses that they are selling non-certified products. So it's comes on the newspapers in India. So it's always consumers reads and be careful while ordering products from the online retailers. So it's important the government is putting a lot of efforts that only BIS certified products are used in the country and it meets the regulatory requirements. And it ensures that also that you bring products from your foreign manufacturing site to India. The customs will not allow goods to enter India if these are not certified. So you will face the issues once it's coming to Indian borders and you've been asked to take your consignment back because this doesn't meet the requirements. So you don't have certifications and it will have difficulty in clearing goods based on the deadline of getting these certifications. So it's a legal requirement. Non-compliance lead to penalties, and it's a brand reputation, as I said. And market advantage, of course, you build consumer confidence. It enables the exports from India in the sense that these are harmonized with the other standards. So if you exports to other countries' economies, it will ensure you that you are not repeating other testing or requirements, because your infrastructure with this certification is giving you access to other markets without much trouble. And it's a trade tool, so it aligns, as I said, with global standards and filters low quality goods that are coming to India. That's eventually the aim, and build more manufacturing base in India. Next slide, please. So this is how it says. It's a market access, and if you are a foreign manufacturer wanting to place your products that are under mandatory certification, so first of all you need to know which are the products, whether I need to apply for certification. And it's a mandatory certification, meaning there is a product regulation or quality control order that exists for your product, then definitely you would need a certification. and without BIS license or certificate, you cannot access Indian market. That is very important information. And for domestic manufacturer, same applies. So if your products meeting this mandatory certification are in the scope, then you are not able to manufacture those goods at your factory. So it's much more impact for domestic companies, because for a foreign manufacturer, they may decide the volume is very low not to sell to India, but for domestic, this option is not available. Next slide, please. So coming to the scope, you will see the OTR is Omnibus Technical Regulation. It's a horizontal regulation on Scheme X for machines and equipments. And we will see what kind of products and what are the requirements. So next slide, please. So here is the product scope, and we are giving you more pictures as well as text here. So these are the machines, and these are the products that are covering under Scheme 1, starting from all type of pumps for handling liquids or liquid elevators, then your compressors, all type of machines for treatment of materials and process, then centrifuge, and the machines for filling, closing, sealing, all type of cranes, machines for constructions, earth moving, weaving machines, for embroidery, and metal cutting machines. So this is, in a way, in India we have tariff codes, harmonized HS codes. So all these products have defined HS codes. Some are ranging from 4 digits to 8 digits to 10 digits. And if your products are that you are sending or manufacturing in India and meeting this tariff code, then your product needs certification. So along with this, there is a tariff code that is linked to these product naming, and you need to see whether the goods that you sell to India are falling under. So we can share you this OTR regulation, and it will help you to know whether this is required or not, and we can of course support you there to understand what it means. Next slide, please. And similarly, the other machines, which for tool for working stone ceramics, and machines for working rubber and plastics. Then you have machines for public working, all kind of gears and gearing. Rotary electrical machines, generators, diesel generators, transformers, semiconductors, and then you have switch gears and control gear equipments based on the voltages that are also covered in this OTR regulation. So it's a very wide scope, all kind of capital goods that are required to build any product, and therefore it has a very huge impact on if you are sending this to India from outside, on your factories located outside India. Next slide, please. And here you see the requirements, which we will of course be covered by my colleague Rashmi, and it will be explained that Authorized India representative we will take up, and then in the slides that are mentioned here will be covering your application files and technical files. And so this is something which we will explain you more in the coming slides. Next slide, please. So yes, important for participants to know that of course this certification will be a cost, and the cost has three factors, three parameters. The majority of fees is the BIS authority fees under Scheme X. So I would say that the authority fees has different components. You have application charges and charges for your products that you make on your factory. So each product that you make will have a different charge. We will see with some example. I have one slide for that. And then you have inspection charges. So inspector that will come to visit your factory to validate your application, and the charges will be borne by the applicant. So you will have definitely more charges than a domestic manufacturer in India, and you will have more compliances than a domestic manufacturer in India. So this is then you have grant of license fee, You will have annual license fee for the renewal of the license, and then for foreign manufacturers, you need to also issue a bank guarantee of US dollars 10,000. So this is per certificate that the guarantee will apply. And then these are the majority of fees is the authority fees. The testing fee under Scheme X is something that requires some development. But however, the current scenario that if you have safety established and you have demonstrate from your application, then you may waive the testing fees, which could be at the external laboratories. And it's not feasible, being a foreign manufacturer, to send these kind of goods to India for testing. There could be some provisions that, but then it has to be budgeted, that you have to budget certain fees on the testing if at all it is required. And then if you use consultant, depending upon what kind of scope you agree with them, and if you think that they could be helpful for handling the Indian authorities, then you need to also consider that component in the budget. Next slide, please. So here you see one example for one foreign manufacturer that needs to apply for certification under Scheme X, and they have only one product that is coming under OTR regulation, Omnibus Technical Regulation. And as you see from the previous slide and this slide, there are fixed fees, and the fees are always written in the BIS fee regulation is in the Indian currency, and we have converted into US dollars. All the fees that you pay to the Indian regulators is in US dollars. So this is somewhere for the fee that you consider. If one inspector is coming to inspect, then you are looking at, this is only the authority fees, so doesn't include the testing charges or the consultant charges. But yes, around $7,000 to, let's say, $12,000 is what, with the two inspector, you are looking at these kind of ranges per certificate, per factory. So if you have two factories and you have same product in both the factories that you produce, and both the factories are being used to send goods to India, one in, let's say, in US, one in Europe, then you will need certification for both the factories, even if the product is same. So you have to count this number too. Or let's say you have different products, because right now we have one product, one technical file means one product, and you have multiple products in your factory, then you have to basically add these technical files. The right now quantity is one, but this is around $227. So you have to multiply this by count depending upon how many products you make. So this license will be on your factory, but it will cover all your grades and products under this. And so this is the range, just to give you some idea. And it includes your inspection charges, budgeting for the travel and everything, and also the authority fees for the application, technical files and everything. So this is just to give you some idea. And then on top of this, you have to provide a bank guarantee of $10,000 per certificate to access India market. So with this, I'll hand over to Rashmi to give you more practical insights on this documentations. Over to you, Rashmi.
Thank you, Gagan, for the detailed explanation about the BIS regulation and the scope of the certification cost path. Of course, it would help participant to understand this. So now I will take up about the actual process, how we can obtain this certification from BIS. So more about process and what are the further obligations once we have this license in place. Next slide, please. So this certification process, it's a multi-step process, and it starts from online registration by the applicants. So it's a simple Google form where basic information goes here. So the very first step, BIS would come to know that some applicant or some manufacturer is willing to obtain the license for the given product category. So here the machine details and the manufacturer detail will go with the registration, and you will get a registration number here, which you will use further while communicating with the BIS. After that, we can start with the documentation. Documentation will have also two parts. One is application and one is technical. file preparation. So application will cover your entire premises, meaning the one manufacturing location. You need one application, which will again have some basic detail about the company, about the people, about the products. The technical file is more detailed towards the product for which we are applying for the certification. BIS have given the guideline. There are some 14-15 requirements from BIS end, which needs to be provided in the technical file. We will see those requirements in detail in later slide. And once we submit this technical file, so here technical file, you can prepare for your product family or for the same HS code. So that needs to be decided and understood how we are going to prepare technical file, because the number of technical file also cost, it has cost, so it depends. So we need to decide the number of technical files so that all your products are covered, and we go with the required technical files only. Once we have submitted the application and technical file, and this process is manual for foreign manufacturers, so as of now it's hard copies are submitted to the BIS headquarters. So once these files along with the applicable charges, so at this stage a fee component will be there. The application and technical file fee will has to be paid to BIS, and then this will be submitted to BIS head office here in New Delhi. After submission, BIS will review these files, and the desk audit will happen, meaning that if whatever has been submitted in the technical file, they will review those information. They will get back to the applicant in case they need more information about anything like what we have submitted, because technical files, you are representing different products with a lead model or lead design. So in that case, they may come up with some queries on based on that. So anything which is from BIS, we need to answer that, and if BIS is all okay with the information, we will go to the next step, which is nomination of the inspection. So for on-site factory inspection, which is a mandatory step in the certification process, these documents after scrutiny will be nominated further, and some BIS officer, and then again it depends on the number of technical file from a single manufacturing site. They will decide on the number of auditors visiting for the audit. So this will again be a communication coming from the BIS, wherein they will share the details like how many people are coming, for how many days they are coming, along with the required fee. So at this stage, we have to pay the required fee, and we have to agree with the information BIS has shared. They will give us a tentative timeline as well, within which we need to get this inspection done. Or in case we have any challenge, we need to communicate further that we need to postpone that inspection for some time. So any communication that has to be done here at this place, and once fee has been paid, then mutually we have to agree on a common date, and the visit has to be planned. So depending upon the number of auditors selected, they will be visiting the site, manufacturing site, wherein they will again validate the information what has been submitted in the technical file, and maybe they can use your in-house factory for the testing as well. So factory should be in the running condition whenever this audit is happening, and they will also verify all the testing parameters, test requirements according to whatever it is applicable on that particular product. So these information can be well prepared before the inspection. All the guidelines they are releasing the product specific guideline as well. BIS has released some 5 technical guidelines so far. So that is more a practical guideline which will help in the audit. So that has to be read and understood along with the applicable Indian standards, so that during audit it is handled well. And also they will validate the manufacturing machineries which has been used for the production. So all this information will once again validated, and then maybe it could be a case that they withdraw some sample for testing at Indian lab, or may not be, maybe they close at the using your in-house lab only. So that depends upon how BIS carries out this. In other schemes, it's a mandatory requirement, but in Scheme X, it is still to be seen how it goes ahead. But once this is closed, after inspection, the reports will be submitted by the BIS officer, and in case the samples have been withdrawn, so the lab report from the BIS approved lab here in India will also be submitted. So once reports are submitted and it is compliant, BIS will move ahead with the next step. And here also you will get a communication before grant of license regarding the payment of certification fee. So based on the number of years they are going to grant you the license, the fee component will again come, and the minimum validity what they have given in the guideline is not less than 3 years, and maximum up to 6 years you will get a certification. So once you pay this fee to BIS, the grant of license letter will be released along with condition of license. So now you will get a license number here, and you are free to use the standard mark, BIS standard mark on your product, not before the grant of license. Only after grant of license you can use these marks on and the license number on your product. For a foreign manufacturer, there are some more obligations to be complied. One is signing of agreement and indemnity. Herein, like the role of AIR will be in picture. AIR will come, and he or she has to visit the BIS office, BIS head office, wherein they need to sign these documents in the presence of head of the department. So this is something like you will get 15 days to sign these agreement and indemnity. Another requirement is the submission of performance bank guarantee. So the licensee now need to submit a PBG of 10,000 USD for each license, against each license, and the validity of this PBG should be more than the validity of license, 6 months more than the actual validity of the license. So this needs to be initiated by your bank at your location, and that particular bank should have a RBI approved branch here in India, which will in turn issue this PBG to BIS. So by this we will complete the grant of license process, and the guideline says it's required 180 days, meaning at least 6 months post submission of documents. So once we submit the document till grant of license, it's 6 months timeline, but you may consider some more. We have generally seen it take more than 6 months, 6 to 8 months somewhere to get this license. After grant of license, now you have some marking and labeling requirement, which you will get in the grant of license letter. You will get the logo and the dimensions which has to be used, and there could be some more changes as per the Indian standard. You may need to amend your label as well, or you may have additional information in different label as well. So along with this license number, this logo, you may have specific marking and labeling requirement coming up from Indian standard as well, that need to be checked and included in the on the product. So this is till grant of license. Now license maintenance, since this is not a lifetime certification, so this needs a renewal. Like if we get a first time license validity of 3 years, so before we complete the 3 years, we need to initiate at least 3-4 months early for the renewal of this license, so that we complete it well in time. Then as a foreign manufacturer, you also need to provide the details of each and every consignment marked with this BIS logo coming to India. So after certification, you have this obligation that you create an account. You'll get this information as well after grant of license, to create an account at Manak online portal, which is BIS portal, wherein you have to provide these details of consignment. So every time, to which port, to which importer, what quantity, everything will be entered there, and this has to be done before your product enters India. So these are certain requirements after license which has to be maintained, and this is ongoing until you have a valid license or until you wish to access Indian market. Next, please. So these are the data requirements for application. So application form, BIS has given some specific formats, so like we have to use that. And for application form, it is form 1 or annexure 1, wherein you have to provide some details about the entity. If you see on the slide, it's like your firm address, your office address, your factory address, and to support this address also, you need to provide the documents which confirms the establishment of your entity. So the license are always granted to the factory address, to the manufacturing site. So factory address is important. Then information like the management or technical person detail, your entity size, it is always large for a foreign manufacturer. Correspondence address, because BIS may send the letters, communications in hard copies as well. So these information, what type of variety, grade, under particular product you are applying. So all those details should come, because your single scope of license will cover all those details which you have applied here. So that is also important. Then the details of payment of the fee. So these informations are required in the application form, and this will be one application form for one manufacturing premises under Scheme X. Maybe other scheme may have multiple, because that goes in a different process, but for Scheme X, it will be one application form for one manufacturing site. Next, please. Another requirement is authorization letter. So BIS says that the document should be signed by the company CEO or the director, and in case they cannot sign, they may authorize someone. So this is an additional requirement if someone else is signing, other than CEO or director is signing the documents. If you have any brand details, please disclose this information to BIS so that it is covered under the license part. Nomination of authorized Indian representative, again we have a separate format here, form 2, which needs to be used, and detail of the AIR will go, and this AIR also have certain requirements, so they have set some criteria we will see in later slides. So the AIR should fulfill those criteria, and then the documents for AIR like address proof, the qualification certificates, everything will go here. And also you have appointed an AIR, so that letter within the company and the letter of undertaking by the AIR that he or she is willing to take up this responsibility, that is also required. So these are not applicable for domestic manufacturers, so it's highlighted in blue that it's a requirement only applicable for foreign manufacturers. So no AIR is required if an Indian manufacturer is applying for this certification. Next, please. This is about the data requirement under technical file. So once we start preparing the technical file, we have to start with the product description first. So detail of the product along with whatever variety, grades, or type you wish to apply for this particular product, that has to be entered here. Then specified requirements for that particular product. Here one need to understand about with the order, because if you check the OTR order, they have given schedule B and C, wherein the Indian standards are, or the equivalent ISO standards are listed. And according to product, you have to check which Indian standard or the corresponding ISO standard is applicable on your product, and that needs to be mentioned here. So by default, if your product is falling under OTR, you are complying with ISO 12100-2010 or 16819, Indian Standard 16819-2018. So these are the generic standard with which one has to comply. But again, in the order, if you see the annexure B and C, they have listed some specific machine-specific Indian standards or corresponding ISO standards. So that has to be checked and accordingly filled here. Then photographs of the product for the identification purpose. Then you have to also mention the details about the manufacturing location. So all your plant layout, a simple plant layout, wherein you have to clearly mark all the areas, like where is the storage area or the manufacturing area or the testing area, finished product dispatch area, because BIS needs to understand that all these activities, right from storage till dispatch, is happening at the same location. It should not be a case that you are manufacturing at one location and then the material goes to other for dispatch. So BIS needs to completely understand this is happening at the same location, and it complies to the conformity compliance. Then detail of for identification and traceability of product, like brand name, trademark, anything through which traceability can be done. So it could be batch number, lot number. So that also you need to give a sample how you are using here. Details of design of the product, including drawings. So it could be some confidential information, but BIS says to provide this to up to a level where it is clear for them to understand the product. So one doesn't need to go into the details, but yes, up to an extent where it is understand, BIS people can understand that what exactly the product is. Then raw material, wherein you have to include the components, whatever being used for the production of that particular machinery. So here the raw material also we need to show the compliance of raw materials. So if any of your component or sub-assembly is falling under BIS or maybe other scheme of BIS, then please check whether that particular component or part has a BIS certification requirement, and if you have those certification in place, because we are disclosing the compliance of raw material also in the technical file. And in case any of the component which is falling under the BIS certification, BIS may raise concern here and will request you to share the certification number. So if you are procuring from your supplier, please check that your supplier has these certifications in place. Then description of manufacturing process. So you need to provide a small process brief flowchart you can share here. And again, it may be a confidential information, but provide it to an extent where it cannot be reproduced. Then you also need to declare all machinery detail, like what machineries are being used for the production of that particular machine. So those details are also required. In case you have subcontracted any of the operation work for that particular manufacturing machine, then then this copy of agreement or consent letter for that arrangement needs to be shared here. Next, please. Then you need to provide the product compliance report to all applicable specified requirements. So as I mentioned, we need to see that specified requirement according to the order which is applicable on your product, and according to that you need to share the compliance report for that full machine. Detail of in-house quality assurance measure. In BIS we call it scheme of inspection and testing, so it includes inspection test plan. So in case generally it comes in the guideline, and in case it is not there, then you may have your own control measures. You can share that what are the levels of control you are maintaining at your end. Then is testing equipment list. Whatever test equipments are being used for particular testing, you need to list down, and this will again be linked to the specified requirements according to the applicable Indian standard or ISO. So whatever test being performed according to those requirements, the equipment list will be utilized here. Then valid calibration certificate for all those test equipments. So this is also BIS will check during the time of audit that you have a valid calibration certificate. They will check that. Instruction for use, maintenance, installation, safe operation of the product. So whatever applicable as per your product segment, you can share this. And one point, BIS has still kept it open that any other product specific requirement, once you submit the technical file, they may come up. If they need more information to judge the safety of the machine, they may come up with more information requirements. So this is open point from BIS. So once we submit this, we may have the information. So this was all about the technical file. So this is the bunch which is created and then signed by the authorized person, and this will be submitted to BIS along with the application form. Now technical file, it could be multiple technical file under one application we can submit, covering different product segments or different product family from the same manufacturing premises. If you have a different manufacturing premises where the same product segment is being manufactured, you need to apply with a different application, and altogether a separate technical file will go there. Next, please. So this is about the obligation part. Once we get the license, we now, as I mentioned, we have this logo. So above logo we have Indian standard, and this is 16819 or ISO 12100, will come here, and then you will get a 10-digit certificate license number also that has to come below. So this is the pattern which BIS advises, and at the extreme right you see the dimensions. So BIS will give you this dimension as well. You are free to choose the dimension, but in the given matrix, in the given proportion. And you can either, like, it depends upon the nature of product how you have to place it in the labels, or you have to emboss on the product. So it depends, but this has to be used. This is the standard mark which BIS has given, and it will show that your product is complying to the BIS certification. Your license number will also be public. Once you get this license, it will be public on the BIS website, so anybody can also validate. BIS also has a BIS Care app where generally one can check the validity of the license also. So anyone can, using this license number, can check the validity of the product as well. Next, please. Okay, so as this process is like renewal is required after certain period of time, so license renewal is also in one obligation until you want to continue to access Indian market. So for renewal, BIS has mentioned one documentation, like one form 7 is there, and along with that few more documentation is required along with the fee. So for renewal, you have to prepare, there will be no audit at the time of renewal, but you have to prepare the application with the supporting document and along with the necessary fee. Also, performance bank guarantee you need to extend. Suppose for 3 years, initially you received the license for 3 years, and then at that time the validity was for 3 years, 6 months. Now, if you are further going for 3 years, you have to make sure that the validity again is according to the new date of validity. So that is always in place. Renewal fee, yes, it is applicable, and the validity for both foreign and manufacturer would be between 3 to 6 years. So renewal will take some time. So it is advisable that we start early and submit our document, because they will review. They may again come up with some information requirement. And at the time of renewal, you have also you need to provide your details about the production. So whatever details you are submitting in Manak Online, you need to maintain that, because those will be also submitted at the time of renewal. Then change in scope of license, meaning grade inclusion. So it is always the possibility that you have some more variety or model in the same product which you already have license, and you want to include the new one. So it can be done through grade inclusion. Here again, you have to fill up one application form for the inclusion, and you also need to provide a technical file and test reports for those. So whatever information initially we discussed in technical file, for new grade you will have to provide the same. There is a processing fee. BIS will review those documents, and if they found it like all okay, then you will get this inclusion, and you will get a new endorsement which will include your new variety. So after that, you can also use this BIS logo on those new models. So license number will not change. The same license number will be there which you initially received. It's only that your new model and varieties will be covered under the same scope of license. Next, please. Yes, so surveillance, Gagan also mentioned in his initial slides, like BIS, you might have heard in news also, it's like very, they are actively doing these raids and seize of substandard goods here in India. So once your product is in India, BIS is actively checking whether it is complying to the given Indian standard or not. So for conformity, they are doing random surveillance. So this surveillance could be from port, from your importer, so they can pick up the sample. They may inform, they may visit, they may randomly pick the sample. So that depends how they are conducting this surveillance. But during the surveillance, you may your importer may get a request to submit the sample from the particular consignment, or they may visit, because with machine the case could be different and it's a new scheme. So how they will be conducting this surveillance. But generally with other scheme, they generally ask the importer to submit those sample, or they randomly pick from customs also the sample, and it goes to BIS approved lab for testing, and if they found anything which is not complying to the given Indian standard, you may have you may get a communication from BIS to answer those non-conformity. So this is how they are maintaining the conformity in India once your product is in India. So surveillance, it's an important part, and after license that it should be taken care that we are meeting the conformity. Next, please. Okay, I think I have completed this process and obligation part. I'll now hand over again to Gagan to take up the last few slides. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashmi, for the very comprehensive explanation on the process, and apologies that we are exceeding the time limit, but we have few important slides to cover and take few questions, so please bear with us. So yes, Authorized India representative was topic that I shared earlier is for foreign manufacturer. It's a mandatory requirement if you need to achieve this BIS certificate for your products. And recent changes in the regulation has certain process that you need to follow. So for example, you cannot just go and select option D. You need to first go check for option A, and if option A is not applicable for your requirement, then go for option B, then option C, and option D. So it has to go in this process only as per regulatory requirement. So please don't select option D altogether if option A is available, or let's say you have a subsidiary here in India and you have some license office in India and you have some possibility that you have been doing trade in India. So just don't go with option D, which may be offered by some consultants or somebody, but it has to, first of all, you have to consider your subsidiary and somebody in the subsidiary as an individual person to become AIR. Next slide, please. So this is the obligation. The Authorized India representative is an individual person, has to be graduate, responsible for compliance, and will represent your manufacturing firm. So if you have multiple manufacturing firm or you are part of group entity, then one individual person can represent multiple factories and multiple licenses. But if you have altogether different company, not part of group entity, then you would need two people to manage your certification. Then it, of course, there should be no conflict of interest. If some external laboratory is required for testing, he of course needs to handle some record keeping, documentation, and support in communication with authority. So you as a foreign applicant as well as the AIR will receive the communication from BIS, and either he or you can respond to the queries to maintain the compliances. So it's important that he, or if you are using some consultant, then the role will be taken over by consultant, but his credentials will be used to maintain the compliances. So it's important as far as REACHLaw recommendation is that please do select this criteria, understand the obligation defined in the legislation, consider both legal and financial consideration. It has to be stable. Of course, change of AIR is possible, but then the application doesn't look nice if you change AIR every year. So reliability and accountability are also the factor here once you select your AIR. Next slide, please. So yes, we also at REACHLaw provides professional services. If you do not have your subsidiaries and if you do not have the arrangements that you seek, then we can of course help you with the AIR appointment. And we have set process in place, both legally validated, and of course we'd be happy to help here. Next slide, please. And it's business critical requirement, so it's a market access, and if you do not have BIS certificate, then you cannot access India market. So please do consider it's a very critical for your business if you are into capital goods and been sending to big companies here in India which are dependent upon you, and you might have different kind of contracts with your customers, and these contracts may have penalties if you don't supply goods in time. So it's really important that you start as soon as possible. Next slide, please. Then common challenges. I will still have few more slides to go. Next, please. So product classification, I think it's something which is important because the products that you are looking is quite complex, and defining what kind of classification, what kind of QCO applicable, and documentations, and also budgeting, let's say what eventually it will cost once you have done everything. Then documentation and technical file takes a lot of time, and it's important, I would say it's a backbone of your application. So it has to be as accurate as possible, because desk audit and the inspections will be covering this requirement, and the more it is organized, the more you will save time and reduce the time for getting the license, which of course was Rashmi mentioning. So this is something which you need to consider. Product classification, you can start immediately if you have not started anything, and then this documentation involving different functions in the company, who is responsible for what documentation. So you may need your legal, you may need your quality people, you may need product design people, and also you might need the sales and those who are exporting on the quantity side. And then of course you would need the banking to handle other kind of guarantees. So it's like different organization altogether that you need to coordinate in order to achieve the full compliance. And then looking who would be the AIR, what are the responsibilities, and factory inspection is something which is a major milestone to achieve this license. So this is of course the cost part. People are not aware that besides the authority fees, then there are other fees that you need to consider when budgeting for BIS certificate. And you need to consider visits to your site. So the budget should consider all travel and audit related costs besides the authority fees. Next slide, please. And some regulatory updates I would like to give, and there are more updates that are coming every month. So it's important that you are on track with these kind of updates. And the recent changes which has extended this deadline to 1st of September 2026 for the products under OTR regulation is also giving some relaxation on the assemblies, sub-assemblies, and components which are at abeyance for now, but it will come. So some understanding on the companies is that they may go for application even that these are at abeyance, and government is also, let's say, allowing you to make or initiate the certification just to see that it's giving you ease when it is coming at Indian customs. So there is always different people handling the customs, and it's very difficult sometimes that to convince that it product doesn't require a certificate. So it's something only for machines, but then as per regulation there is always that you don't need, it's an abeyance right now. Then there are certain guidelines which are practical guidelines to handle the compliances on documentations. These are 5 guidelines, and recent one which has been just issued in October is weaving and machine looms. And domestic manufacturers can now submit their applications online. They can achieve the license online. And as I was mentioning earlier, it is a structured outline for AIR. You need to follow a process. So it's very important that this is now in legislation that should be there, because there are a lot of individual persons that companies was appointing, and they have been difficulty in handling these compliances. So it's always has to be structured, and we of course respect this changes. And technical file only for lead model. So it's something saving cost, but you have to do how to select this lead model is also something to consider. Next slide, please. So I can conclude this session, and next slide. So few takeaways. It's a market access. So no certification means no exports in India, and preparation is important and critical for you. Scoping, starting with the scoping and understanding what kind of documentation, budgeting, and aligning the resources, planning your projects so that you can see that the delays can be avoided, and choosing your authorized India representative carefully so that you know that what kind of whether it's reliable and takes care of accountability on the obligations that are coming as AIR. And a lot of changes coming now and then. It's a new scheme and new changes are coming. A lot of committees, different product has been already initiated by the ministry, line ministry, and a lot of developments are already coming. So it's important to stay and proactive here. You may not get news every time on your inbox. The Indian regulators do not allow subscription-based news check. So you need to go regularly, and also not only BIS and other portals to understand what kind of changes are coming. And long term, so it's important that certification is one-time exercise, but renewals and surveillance will play the future compliances and being a responsible player in the Indian market. So next, please. And we will, of course, help you. REACHLaw is providing as a leading in this segment, so providing all certification under Scheme X. So if you need any services right from the beginning, please contact us at this email address. So with this, I'll hand over to Frederick for taking up few questions.
Thank you, Gagan, and thank you, Rashmi. And indeed, we're slightly over time as per usual, but thank you for sticking around with us till the end. So we have a few pre-submitted questions, and we got a lot of questions actually in the chat. We will not have time to go through all of them. We picked a few, but we'll start with the pre-submitted ones. So quickly, in as verbatim. So these are just as they have been posted to us during the registration process with the typos and everything. Well, we'll start. So are paints and coatings, surface treatments, and film subject to mandatory BIS registration? And this one goes to you, Gagan.
Yeah, this is a good question. So most of these, I think, products falls under formulation industry. It's a product mix having a lot of components. So as on date, these products are not covered under mandatory BIS certification. However, you need to look into the product quality control orders and see that is there any product that might come specific to the use, but since at the moment it's not mandatory.
Thank you, Gagan. Next question. Equipment is manufactured at different locations by the same designer, but yeah, and how to apply if we offer the whole equipment? So a bit of struggling English there, but okay. Did you get the question? Rashmi, this one goes to you. So I guess it has to do with product family related topics. Go ahead.
Yes. So Freddie, this is tricky, and when in OTR we always need to check, like it is mentioned, equipment is manufactured on different locations. So I believe it must be coming to India from those specific location only. And when it is coming to customs, we need to first check the applicability of OTR on those products also before we say that we go with the whole equipment certification. So maybe if it is coming separately to India and if it is falling under the criteria of machine, what has been defined in the guidelines or the generic standard, then maybe a certification is separately required. But this again needs to be checked with the authorities how they agree on this. But the first stage we would suggest that please check if it is coming separately to India and whether it is defined as a machine under the guidelines.
Thank you, Rashmi. question number 3, how to confirm whether my products fall into the classification? So subject to BIS, I assume. Gagan, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I think there is at the BIS website, you will find the products that require mandatory certification, and you will find this listing at the BIS website and the conformity scheme mandatory certification. So scheme 1, scheme 2, and scheme X. And you will find the product with the name, with the Indian standards. Sometimes the product you may not qualify, then you have to go to the standard to understand that what this product is. And then with the scheme X, it's always, as I said, the tariff codes. So it's easy to relate that this is your product that would require certification.
Thank you, Gagan. And the next question also feeds into the previous question. So in the first schedule of the order description says all types of pumps and compressors, and there are some HSN codes against each description. Should it be considered that this order applies to only those listed HSN codes and not applicable to others? Rashmi, do you want to take this one?
Yes, under OTR, they have defined the given HS code. So as of now, the understanding is correct. Whatever HS code, whether it is 4, 6, or 8 digit, only those are applicable under the OTR order. But this list is dynamic. They may change, they may add more, they may reduce also. So please monitor. But as of now, your understanding is correct. It applies only to the listed HSN.
Very good, thank you. Next question to you, Rashmi, also. Could you please let me know if this applies to polyurethane products shipping from the US to a downstream manufacturer in India? So Rashmi.
Yes, polyurethane is under scheme 1, and I believe it is implemented as well. So it's like not specific to where it is being manufactured. BIS is only when it is coming to India, you have to check the applicability. So whether it is coming from US or any other location, if polyurethane is coming to India, BIS is applicable.
Very good, thank you. And the last question here, pre-submitted ones, goes to Gagan, albeit I know the answer already, but I think most of you do. But materials originating in the EU do not require a BIS certification, and documents need not be shown at the Indian Customs Control. Is this correct? Gagan,
the answer is, yeah, the answer is no. The manufacturing, if it is coming from Europe and you have the product that you want to send to India, you need to apply as foreign manufacturer to achieve this BIS certification. So as such, you are not showing any documents at customs. Your documentations will be used to get the BIS certificate, and the BIS certificate number will be added to the ICE gate, which is a digital portal where you add your material and consignment detail by your freight forwarders. So the BIS certificate number or license number goes there, and wherein the customs will recognize that the goods and then you have logo on your product. So the logo, the marking on your products at the customs will help them recognize with the ICE gate notification that the product indeed has a valid certification, which is valid because you have renewed it, and then you can access India market. So this question I have elaborated a bit with the no answer.
Thank you, Gagan. Good. We'll catch a few more questions here from the chat. Sorry for not being able to take all of them. We will then get back to you probably on the answers. I think we know some of the people who have been asking these questions, so we'll get back to you on that. But I'll pick a few quick ones. So first question, we are procuring some chemical from different vendors, manufacturers, so we need this certificate for the particular chemical. Can we ask them for, I guess, the manufacturer for this certificate, or is it up to the manufacturer because some manufacturer has said it's an internal document, we cannot share the document? So it's related to supply chain compliance. Do you, Gagan, want to take this one?
Yeah, I can take, and Rashmi, of course, can supplement. But if you are only buying this chemical from a manufacturer and you are a user or downstream user for this chemical, then you need not apply for certificate because you are a user. As I mentioned in the beginning of this session, only manufacturer needs to apply. So you need to, of course, go with the supply chain compliance or use your procurement to ensure that the BIS certificate is part of your SOP, like product quality and TDS, and those that you write on your purchase orders, that BIS certificate is mandatory when you recruit your suppliers. And you can check online whether the BIS certificate is valid or not. So it's a public information. You should check it before you place an order to these suppliers. So no, but yes, you have to secure this from a BIS certified manufacturer.
Very good, thank you. Next question. How broad a scope can a license have in terms of how many products or product combinations can be covered under one license? We touched upon this, but Rashmi, do you want to take this, or Gagan?
Yes, Teddy, I can take this. So how broad a scope can be? So it's like not defined, but yes, we have guidelines where they have mentioned how grouping can be done. If we talk about Scheme X, then we are using a lead model to represent all the other models for that particular family. So deciding on the technical file is important under this OTR, because based on that, how you are defining the technical file, one technical file covers what all your products, and based on that you are selecting one lead model. So no fixed numbers here, but yes, a correct identification of the family and correct representation by lead model is required.
Very good, thank you. A quick one, pertaining to manufacturing audits. Should a product in question be present during the audit, or are the BIS inspectors just checking the factory only? Gagan, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I think it's important that, of course, as I said, the application that you are providing contains your product information, and it's more of a quality that you are demonstrating that it meets Indian standard by certain technical information in your application. So yes, your product should be there at the time of audit. If for whatever reason the product is not available, you need to demonstrate some representative model that is there, because as a manufacturer you will definitely have something at your site. It's not just the empty factory which has nothing there apart from the testing equipment. So it should be looks like a manufacturing premise, and then of course it can be agreed that how it works in practice in order to see that the factory inspection is successful. So everything has to be discussed with BIS inspectors right from the beginning, and understand what provisions are possible under the law, and if it requires certain discussions or consultations at different level, that should happen before inspection. So that's how I could address this question.
Thank you, Gagan. Just a few more quick ones. What's the difference between batch, so one-time delivery, and serial license regarding documentation, preparation, and the whole process? To Rashmi or Gagan?
Yes. Yeah, I will take this. Yeah, so basically no difference. It's only in the process and documentation part. It's only that for batch, generally there is a certificate of conformity, which is one time. Maybe you can, for particular batch, you can get this, and you will use only this conformity number on that particular batch only. Apart from that, you cannot use that number on any of the production. So it's limited one, but the process documentation is same, whether you are going for a full license or a one-time delivery. In license, you have a continuous production and you can mark your product. So if you talk about difference between documentation and whole part, there is no difference.
Okay, thank you. And two last questions, quick ones. If a product is blocked at import, how will I get the certification? Maybe the first comment is don't be blocked. Do this in advance. But please, Gagan, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I think it's important. It's it's something which is spontaneous, I guess. Depends how far you are with your certification, but the law says that they may ask to take these products back to where they have originated from. So the law has clear, but there could be possibility that it might be allowed to, because of how you are prepared, how you have put the efforts, and whether the certification came after the products were shipped from your factory. So those are something, but then it's something that you should prepare well in advance. And foreign manufacturers, if you are, then 8 to 10 months typical timeline you should consider to achieve the license or certificate.
Yeah. So don't be late, in other words.
Yeah.
Good. Last quick question. Per certificate fee, can I include multiple combinations of a single product? We answered this, but please reiterate. Rashmi, you will get the last one, please.
Freddy, if you can please repeat the question again.
So the question is, per certificate fee, can I include multiple combinations of a single product?
So yeah, I think I can understand that you are looking for, let's say you have a BIS certificate and then you would like to, if it's a scheme X, then we are talking about one technical file can cover various combinations. So the answer is yes, that one technical file fee can cover multiple combination, as long as it meets the safety aspect and doesn't have a new, let's say, product altogether. So it again requires some important check that and also the guideline, if you have a practical guideline issued, that how you do the grouping and how you do the budgeting. So sometimes that the grades and the capacities, and if it is the safety aspects are common and not compromised, then yes, it is possible. If not, then you probably need looking at more technical files in this so but you can send it further to us if this answer is not very clear to you. And Rashmi, if you want to add anything, then please do.
No, this is correct. So based on technical file, so we can cover a family. But again, we discussed this earlier also, that we need to select it wisely, like what we are covering under the same technical file, and whether all the products will come. So this is what you mentioned is okay.
Very good. Yes. Okay, and with that, I'm afraid we will have to conclude this webinar. A lot of questions pending. Feel free to reach out to us, and I think we will be reaching back to some of you after this webinar also on some of the answers. But feel free to contact us directly with questions, and here you find our contact details. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, Gagan, Rashmi, and myself, Frederick, here at the bottom of the contacts. So with that, thank you very much to my colleagues for presenting during this webinar. Of course, the biggest thank you goes to you who've listened in so far and stayed all the way to the end. So thank you very much, and feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help you with understanding the hoops and intricacies of India BIS and much more. So big thank you and to the colleagues and all of you listening in. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.